What can Elon Musk do about it, do you think? If you were advising him on this, I mean, ironically, at the moment, you're not on Twitter. A, do you want to come back now that Musk is in charge? Do you think you should be restored? Do you want to be back on Twitter? And secondly, what would you advise him to do about this issue of the trolls and so on?
Well, the first thing I would advise, and I'm going to be advising the political people I'll be talking to over the next few weeks of precisely this, and I have talked it over with Twenge and Haidt to make sure that I'm not, like I said, off on a personal tangent. I would say there's no excuse for including the anonymous posters with the real human beings. And I think that social media platforms who have a certain reach, maybe it's 1 million subscribers, and I don't really know what figure is appropriate, should be required to implement know your customer laws, and then that the people who are posting, who are genuine, verified human beings, willing to abide by their words with their personal reputation, should be put in one comment section, and then the online, anonymous, cowardly, narcissistic, pathological troll demons who are polluting the public discourse should be put in a different comment section. And if you want to go to hell and visit the troll demons and see what they have to spew, you can, but otherwise you can be among the normal human beings engaged in normal civil human discourse. Right. And that would separate the bloody psychopaths from the bulk of decent, normal people. And, 97% of people aren't psychopathic. Yeah. And so we are talking about a small minority here, but it's often the case that people in the industry that you're in, and this would be true for politics and journalism as well, anything with a public face, are more likely to be extroverted and also more likely to be somewhat disagreeable. And those personality traits can tilt you towards, what would you say, a style of callous exploitation. But there are other personality factors that mediate against that, like conscientiousness. And so people who are hardworking and reliable, for example, aren't parasitic in the same way that a classic psychopath would be. And so it's complicated, and it isn't the case that extroversion and even a certain degree of disagreeableness in and of themselves are dangerous, but they lead, like everybody's led to temptation in the direction that's in accordance with their temperament, and the fact that you are a public-facing person and that you like that would tilt you in one direction of potential temptation, but that's not necessarily diagnostic. Now, it is a problem because it probably is the case that politics and journalism and entertainment attract a disproportionate number of Machiavellians and psychopaths because of the status that goes along with those enterprises. Yeah. But it's not diagnostic. It doesn't mean that if you're in that industry, and you've had a long career, and that's also another marker for failure or for lack of psychopathy, because in the normal world, psychopaths exploit, and they get a reputation for doing so quite quickly. And then people avoid them and stop working with them. And so it doesn't work over the medium to long run as a general rule. Well, I know people who know him very well and have worked with him very closely. And these are very solid people, extremely competent and extremely creative. And they're admirers of Musk. I talked with my brother-in-law, Jim Keller, who's one of the world's great chip engineers. And he worked very closely with Musk for years. And he believes that he's in many ways exactly what you'd think he was. He's a genius, but he's also like a visionary genius, but he's also someone who's very, very good at implementing, very good at running companies, as you can tell, because he has a multitude of impossible successful companies. Yes. And so he goes into a company and he cleans house and puts things in order and makes things work efficiently. And maybe he can do that with Twitter. I hope he can, because Musk is doing all sorts of things that appear to be useful and difficult, and it would be a catastrophe to see him derailed in his efforts. And it's such a den of pathology that using it, I think, is psychologically damaging. And if it's possible for Musk to get the trolls, and they're not trolls, they're psychopathic, Machiavellian, sadistic narcissists under control, then it's possible that the platform might be useful. I like to share information on it. I like to follow people to see what they were up to, a lot of the people that I've met over the years, but man, it's a snake pit.
It is a snake pit.
It isn't obvious to me that we know what to do about it.